Hi, this is Mike Wilson with Nova Real Estate Group. Today we're going to talk about pricing, the number one critical success factor. Make sure that your house is priced right, priced appropriately, or you'll have a lot of trouble selling it. So one of the things that we look at when we talk about what is priced right is whether you're pricing it to the market, which would be in the center of the screen, the market value, or pricing it too high above market, or pricing it below market. Conventional wisdom says that if you're pricing it below the market, you're leaving money on the table. And a lot of the times that's true. But there are other factors that go into an effective pricing strategy that make it wise to price it in this section. Not sure if you can see my mouse here, but in this section, in the 10% below section. Most often we want to be in this section marked by an X, market value to slightly above. And this graph, this chart shows where you price the property versus how many potential buyers are going to look at the property. And year over year, in all geographies, in all price ranges, this is pretty accurate. It's pretty statistically something you can count on statistically. At market value, you're going to get a big chunk of the market, and when you start discounting and you start below the market, you're going to see higher chunks of people that are looking at the property. But you can also see that it drops off dramatically. Only 30% of the people are going to, potential buyers are even going to look at the property if it's priced even 10% above market value. So you really want to be in this sweet spot in most situations. And I have a little bit of a caveat there because there are situations where an effective pricing strategy, and that's what we really work for with a client, is a pricing strategy. There are situations where you might want to be slightly above and you might want to be slightly below. There's one other factor, and that's time on market. And this one's a little bit counterintuitive as well. If what this chart is saying is it's showing the length of time that a property is on the market versus with price versus its actual market value. So in our last chart, we were identifying a market value for a property. And what this says is that the longer the time on the house is on the market, the lower the perceived market value. And what that means is that buyers in the marketplace see a property that's been on the market for a long time, an abnormally long time. And that's different by different markets. Let's say the average days on market for a property is 30 days. If a house is on the market 60, 90, 120 days, even if there's nothing wrong with that property, the marketplace, the pool of potential buyers views it as stale, views it as something is probably wrong with it, and basically discounts that house. So the longer the time the property is on the market makes it harder to sell, and almost invariably requires a price reduction in order to interest the marketplace. So it's sometimes a little bit counterintuitive when you think about it, especially for sellers that insist that they want to start high so that they can lower their price. That's just about shooting yourself in the foot in most markets. And it's especially true even in a seller's market where the days on market, the average days on market is actually very low. It does not take very long for a house to get stale. And the perceived value of that house is starting to go down. And so this price, you see this price point, it really doesn't matter that if it's an increasing marketplace or a decreasing marketplace. Pricing it to the market is usually the most effective strategy in getting it sold in the average days on market or even below the average days on market. Helps ensure that you're not chasing this price downward. So it's a very, very frustrating thing to do, and it's also not financially fruitful either. So how do you home in on price? Now, this is a big topic of client focused pricing strategy. What we work with our clients on, and what's most effective in the marketplace to get in any market to get what the client, the seller, the homeowner really wants out of their property, both in terms of dollars and in terms of time. How do you home in on price? There are three things that, in our experience, have been very uh, important, critical factors in determining the right price. The first one is market analysis, and that's pretty standard. That's pretty straightforward. That's when you hear realtors talk about a CMA or a comparative market analysis, they're talking about either a market analysis or a combination of a property comparison and a market analysis. But the market analysis specifically refers to what's the area doing? What's the marketplace in the geography where the house is situated? What's it doing? Are the prices going up? Are they going up month on month? Are they going up year on year? Or are they declining? Or, of course, are they kind of stagnant where there's not a lot of price movement? How many units are sold? What's the average days on market? Those are the types of things that you hear about with the market analysis. And it's very important to determine what type of a market you're actually competing in. Because make no mistake, especially with price, home sellers are competing against other home sellers. Buyers only buy one house. So if you've got a seller's market, it's good to know that. If you've got, and so you need to know that the data is important in determining, coming up with an effective list price. Property comparison is another one. That's more what people think of when they see a realtor picks out similar, very similar, most similar, and most geographically similar, most structurally similar properties and compares them to the seller's property. And that, especially the ones that have sold and sold recently. That's kind of the meat and potatoes, if you will, of the of what most people call a pricing strategy. But the last thing that I'm going to throw in here is one of the most important things that we do for all of our clients, and that is feet on the street. And what I mean by that is that we actually go to the properties. It's usually impossible to go to all the properties that are they're truly good comparisons for a seller's property, for the one that we're trying to sell and list. But we go to as many as we can, and we can often get to and actually walk around and see inside of, see the condition of, see all of the things that you can only see by being there. You can't see them on paper. Property comparison is still, it's a detailed comparison, but it's a paper comparison. Market analysis is not even specific to the property, and so it's almost like a 30,000 foot flyover. But feet on the street is one of the critical pieces that we add to all of our listings. So we actually put eyes on the competitors, the properties that are on the market in the vicinity that are direct competitors to our property, and we do that before helping the client decide on an actual list price. There's a lot more to it, but those are the main things that go into our client-focused pricing strategy. We encourage everyone to do the best that they can on those things as well. So how do you get started with something like that? If you're a seller and you're thinking of selling your house in the next short period of time or long period of time, 1 month or 1 year, what do you do? Well, here are a couple of suggestions. One of the very first things, especially if you're a ways out, is sign up for our market reports. We put these out monthly. We do it for different geographies. I've got a reminder here for me. You can find a form on this page. Usually, our videos go everywhere, so if there's not a form on this page, at the end of this, I'll give you our phone number and a way to get a hold of us as well. But you can always just call us and ask us. So if you're thinking of selling in the next 3 months, 6 months, a year time frame, start getting the market reports. That's going to be the 30,000 foot flyover, but it's going to be your area, and it's going to help you watch the market. Exact same thing that we would do with you as when you list with us, and start watching the market. See if it's a seller's market, see if it's a buyer's market, see what the prices are doing month on month, year on year, those types of things. Start to get an idea of what's happening near your house. And the second thing, and you can request this in the same way. There's either a form on this page, or you can get in touch with us and you'll have to give us a little bit more information, because the next one, the mini property report, it's also free, and it's a paper it's paper data. It's not feet on the street style, but it's about your property. So it's your address. It's your address. Mini property report. So it's more information, more details, but most importantly, it's about your specific property, and that's going to get you quite a bit closer to actually being able to make sense out of what you found when you looked at Zillow, when you looked at Trulia, when you looked at some of those that they each have their own little algorithm, and you may have looked at it and you may have gotten angry because it was really low, or you may have gotten elated because it was really high. Well, these are the types of tools that I'm giving you here that are going to help you come into for a reality landing, a little bit of a reality check, and these are going to be data driven. So they're going to be the things that help support your price when you do put it on the market. And the last one is comparative analysis. Now, this is feet on the street, but we're going to put feet on your property. You ask us to. This is where you get the professional to come to your house, take a look at your house, and help make sense of the data that we're able to get through our tools in helping determine what the price of your house should be. Where does your house, what's the real value? What should you be asking for? You want to try and start to pinpoint where your property is at in the market. So that's condition of the property, age of the property, finishes, and how those things compare to other houses that are nearby that are either on the market now or have sold recently. That's the most detailed. That's a professional in your pocket helping you with the pricing, and that's one of the last tools that we have that we add to the mix when we're helping you come up with your very client-focused pricing strategy. So that's an overview of the one of the actually I think it's the number one thing, critical success factor, pricing. Pricing your house appropriately is the number one success factor in selling your house and reaching your goals as a home seller. I'd encourage you to look at the rest of the videos. If you're watching this, you probably have already signed up and have access to our library. So browse through the rest of the videos. This is the first one in a three-part series about critical success factors for home sellers. So I'd encourage you to watch the rest of them. And if you ever have any questions, you can always reach us at the number that's on the screen there, the 703-722-8831, or contact us on this website. And we're happy to help you out. Look forward to working with you, and I'll see you in the next segment.